Good evening and welcome back to the BiGDUG's studios, and it's time for another session of New Year, New Yoga with me, Sally. So if you'd like to join me on your mat, taking your feet then about hip width apart for me and softening off those knees. So take a deep breath in through the nose, bring the palms together above the head and exhale past the heart. So inhale and exhale. 3 more then. Inhale and exhale. Last 2 and exhale. Last one then. Inhale and leave those palms together for me, softening off those knees and take it over to the right. So feeling a slight stretch in that left side. Inhale it back to center and exhale over to the left. Bringing it back into center for me and to the right. And back to center. Last time then to the left. And bringing it back into center. Open those fingers up to the ceiling. Really lift up through the body. Knees stay soft. And as you exhale, just forward fold all the way down towards the floor. So just letting the upper body hang and turning the feet to face the front of the mat for me. And just transferring the weight into the toes and back to the heels. Just rocking forwards and backwards. If your fingers don't come to the mat, you can always rest them on the shins. So taking it forwards and backwards. 2 more then. So inhaling forward, exhaling backward, and bringing it back into center for me. Inhale to halfway, hands come to the shins, tailbone presses up. Exhale, round it down for me. So inhale to half. Exhale, round. 3 more then. Inhale. And exhale. Last 2. Inhale. And exhale. Last 1 then. Inhale. And exhale. And just hold here. Just let that upper body hang. Bringing your attention to the breath as you breathe in and breathe out. 1 more then, breathing in and breathing out. So from here, bending the knees and rising up, arms come up overhead. So really reach it up into extended mountain pose. Before dropping the hands by the sides, palms facing forward and closing the eyes for me. So just relax them through the shoulders. Breathing in and breathing out. Bringing the awareness to the breath. And with each exhale, releasing any tension in the body. So 2 more breaths here then. And this time as you exhale, hands come back up overhead, eyes open up, gazes back to the fingertips. Before swan diving it all the way down towards that mat for me. So either reach into the floor, or if you're feeling a little bit more flexible, place the fingers under the toes, bend that right knee and stretch that left arm up. You're going to twist through the torso. Bringing the left hand down, left knee bends, right arm stretches up for me. So gazes up to those right fingertips if that feels comfortable. Right hand comes down, right knee bends, left one stretches up. Last time then, switch it over, left knee bends, right arm rises. And bringing both hands back down to the mat, release the fingers if they're underneath the toes, and once more just transfer the weight into the toes and back to the heels. Inhale. And exhale. Once more then. And then bringing it back into center for me. So bringing the hands together behind the back, just link those fingers together,
soften off the knees if you need to. And on the inhale, lift those arms as high as you feel comfortable with. So just a slight lift, or you can drop them over the head. And wherever they are, you can stay facing forwards, or you can take a sway to the left and then to the right. Whichever your body allows you to do this evening. Keeping the belly nice and strong and grounding down through all four corners of the feet. And bringing it back into center. Keeping the fingers linked, bend the knees and rise all the way up to standing cobra. So pressing those hands down and away, shoulders come away from the ears. And exhale to fold. Just drop those arms to wherever you feel comfortable with. Inhale, bend those knees and rise back up again. Hands press down, belly stays strong. Exhale to fold. And once more then, bend the knees and rise up. Really pressing those hands down and away. Fingers stay linked. And as you exhale, return the hands above the head, gazes upwards. And forward fold it down one more time for me. And from here, we're going to come down onto the floor, onto the hands and knees. So I'm going to turn sideways for you, making sure the wrists are down underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips and fingertips are open. So from here, we're going to go into cat and cow then. So as you inhale, dip the back, lift the chin. Exhale, drop the chin to the chest, pull the belly in. Inhale forward. And exhale, pull that belly in, chin to chest, press down through the palms. Inhale forward. Exhale round. One more then, inhale. And exhale, just holding here, really pulling that belly in, engaging through the palms as you press down into the mat. And returning back into that neutral tabletop for me. Tucking the toes and coming into downward facing dog. So lifting the hips, flattening out the back. Don't worry if you need to soften the knees, that's fine. And just holding here. And then you're just going to bend the knees one at a time, just pedaling through the legs. If it feels good, take the hips side to side. And bringing it back into still for me. Just flattening out that back, hips high. And once more, return back into that tabletop position for me. Keeping those toes tucked underneath, sitting it back onto the heels just to give the feet a stretch. Now if that's too much to sit it onto the heels, come up onto the knees. So whichever you feel comfortable with, bring the hands to the heart. Feeling that stretch through the fronts of the feet. Gaze is forward, chin is off the chest. 2 more breaths here then. And this time as you exhale, bring the hands back to the mat for me, untuck the toes to come back into the tabletop before extending that right leg out, tucking those right toes once more and giving a press down to that heel. Fingers stay open, palms press into the mat and belly stays nice and tight. From here then, we're going to tripod that left leg, so turn it onto an angle, leave the left hand down and stretch the right one up. So gaze is up to those right fingertips if that feels comfortable, otherwise you can look forward. Breathing in and breathing out. Pressing down through that left palm, lifting up through the left side. Before inhaling to return the right hand and right knee back to the mat, back into that tabletop position. And let's take it to the other side. Left leg stretches out, left toes are tucked, and press down on that left heel. Just giving a gentle stretch to the calf muscles. Breathing in and breathing out. Ensuring the fingertips stay open. From from here, we're going to turn that right leg then. So tripod the right one, right hand and right knee stays down as the left arm stretches up. Fingers point to the ceiling and left toes engage to the floor. Breathing in and breathing out. And once more, return both the left hand and left knee back down to that mat then, and tuck the toes, come back into downward facing dog one more time for me. So really lifting those hips nice and high, fingers are open, belly's pulled in. Just recover here. Remembering if you need to, you can always come down onto the knees and jump back in when you're ready. So this time we're coming back into tabletop for me then. So just squaring off the knees, making sure the wrists are underneath the shoulders before stepping that right foot forward for me. Hands come either side of the right foot as you slide that left knee back. Now you can stay here. You can place the hands above that right knee. You can extend them up overhead into crescent. So feeling the stretch deep into that left hip. Slight back bend. Grounding down through the feet. And as you exhale, bring the hands either side of that right foot. Push the bum back to straighten out this right leg. So stretching through the right hamstring. So you can either stay in a hover, or if you feel a little bit more flexible, you can sit it back onto the heel of that left foot. So your choice, keeping that right foot flexed. Heart is lifted and chin is off the chest. Inhale to drop that right foot back down again. Sink it into that left hip, right knee above right heel, ankle, hands to above the knee or above the head. Wherever you choose. Last time then, bring the hands down either side of that foot and come back into that slight hover or sitting it back onto the heel, whichever you choose. Remember, chest stays lifted, gaze is forward. And from here then, inhale to drop that right foot back down. Bring both hands to the inside edge. Back that stretch up a little bit to allow you to take that right foot back into that tabletop position before taking the left one forward. So hands either side of the left foot. Ease that right leg back for me. And again, to the mat, above the knee or into crescent. So reach it up, sinking it down into that hip. Really lifting through the chest. Hands come to the mat, either side of that left foot as you push the bum back into that slight hover or sat back onto that heel. Again, gaze is forward. Left foot stays flexed. Inhale to drop that foot back down. Hands come to either side. Make sure that hip's got a nice stretch to it before extending the arms or placing them wherever you feel comfortable with. Last time then, hands come down, push the weight back and just relax into that posture for me. Sitting up nice and tall, heart stays open. And inhale to drop that foot back down, hands come to the inside edge, back the stretch off enough to let you take that leg back for me. So from here then, taking that left arm out to the side, threading it underneath the right to bring that left shoulder down to the mat, or you can leave the hand exactly where it is, or you can just bring it to rest on the back of the waist. Your choice. Hips stay high and big toes stay together. If you want to close the eyes, you can, and concentrate on the breath. As you inhale, return the right hand back to the mat if it's not already there, and left one comes back in. Inhale to take the right one out to the side, threading it underneath the left. Right shoulder comes to the mat, and your choice of where your left hand goes, exactly where it is, or comes to rest on the back of the waist. Breathing in and breathing out. And then return yourself back into that tabletop position for me. From tabletop, I want you to take the knees to the outside edge of the mat, big toes stay together, push the weight back towards the heels as you stretch the arms out to bring yourself down into extended child's pose. So forehead kisses the mat, or if it's more comfortable, the side of the face. Forearms and palms face down. Just relaxing into that posture. Each time you exhale, just let go of that tension. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale, walk the hands back towards the body to bring yourself back up into that tabletop position for me. Before sitting it back onto the heels and bringing the hands to the heart. Now if that's uncomfortable, you can again come up onto the knees, your choice. Wherever you are, inhale to bring the arms up overhead, releasing the fingers up towards the ceiling in a straight lift, or you can give it a slight back bend. Your choice. As you exhale, come to child's pose. So extend those arms out, head comes down to the floor. Inhaling it to tabletop then for me. So just check those knees are underneath the hips. Tuck the toes and come into downward facing dog for me. Exhale to tabletop. Back into child's pose. So stretch those arms out. All the way back up onto the knees with the arms extended up, straight up, or again into that back bend. And then bring the hands together, sitting it back onto the heels and bring them into the heart. Once more then, inhale it up. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale to downward facing dog. Back into tabletop for me. Return to child's pose. Straight up, hands up overhead. And sit it back, hands to heart. Or again, stay on the knees, your choice. 2 more breaths here then. Bring yourself back into that tabletop position before tucking the toes and coming back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, roll it through into that high plank for me then. So wrists under shoulders, hips are nice and straight. If that is too much, just drop the knees down to the floor and tuck the toes. Keep the belly pulled in. So your choice. Holding nice and strong. Don't let that back dip. Nice and straight spine for me. So from here, keeping the right hand down, extending that left one up. And again, if you need to, you can drop that bottom knee onto the floor to give you that little bit extra support. Otherwise, heel to toe, fingers point to the ceiling, right side is lifted, right palm presses into the mat. As you inhale, let's return that left hand, bring yourself back into that plank position. Before left hand stays down, right one stretches up. So gaze is either forward or up to the hand, your choice. Really lifting up through that left side, staying strong through the body. And return the right hand down to the floor for me then. So just pull that belly in, nice and strong, fingers are open. Inhale to lift the hips, drop the heels back down into downward facing dog for me. So just a little bit of mobility through the spine Roll it through, high plank. Remember, if you need to drop the knees. Inhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. 2 more then, roll it through, high plank. Lift the hips, downward facing dog. 1 more then, roll it through. Lift those hips up for me. So just holding here and bending those knees, just pedaling through the legs again 1 more time. Taking the hips side to side if that feels good. And bringing it back into that still position for me. Before dropping it back down into that tabletop position for me, making sure then that the hips and knees are in line, wrists under shoulders. From here, extending the right arm and the left leg out. So square those hips off, try not to dip over to that right side. We're going to draw the elbow and knee together under the body and extend it out. So inhale to draw under, exhale to extend. Slow and controlled. That's 3. We've got 2 more. 4. Last one. Extend both arm and leg out. Square the hips. Drop that right hand back to the mat and bend that left knee for me. So just check those hips face down, flex the left foot and press the heel to the ceiling for a pulse of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press that heel even higher to squeeze through that left side of the glute. Strong through the arms, pressing down through the palms. And release that leg back to the mat for me then. Just square yourself back off and extend left arm, right leg. Draw them together. And exhale. So pulling them in, exhaling it out. So inhale and exhale. 2 more then. And exhale. Last one, extend them out. Really keep those hips nice and square. Drop that left hand, bend that right knee, flex the foot. Heel to the ceiling for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift that heel even higher, squeeze through that glute, strong through the arms and belly. And drop it back to the floor. Take the knees to the outside edge and sit it back into that child's pose, extending those arms out, just to give the wrists and the shoulders a little bit of a break, and to just reverse that back bend slightly. From here then, staying with the weight pressed back towards the heels, come up onto the fingertips and lift the forearms and the forehead off the mat in extended child's pose. From here we're going to walk the fingers as far around to the left as you can go, and then the hands can stay side by side, or the right palm can come onto the back of the left hand, just to give you a stretch through that right side of the body. Breathing in and breathing out, and just walk the fingers back into the front of the mat. And then we're going to take it around to the right side. So again, just taking it as far as you feel comfortable with, hands side by side, or one resting on the top of the other. Bum still sits back towards the heels. And return it back into that center. Still staying on the fingertips. Just want you to inch them a little bit further forward as you press the weight of the bum back towards the heels. And from here, you're going to drop the forearms and the palms back onto the mat and just rest the forehead down. Bringing the palms together in front of you in that prayer position. Little fingers are in contact with the mat for me. And then as you inhale, lift the arms up above the head. So you've got a little shark fin going on. So elbows stay in contact with the mat. And if you feel you can, just touch the thumbs to the back of the neck. Don't worry if you can't. And release the hands back to the floor, so fingertips come to the mat. One more then. Inhale. Lift those hands up into that shark fin. Thumbs kiss the back of the neck if they can. Fingers are open. And release it back down for me then. And turn the palms to face back down to the mat for me. Just resting it here. Knees are on the edge of the mat. Big toes stay together. 2 more breaths then. Taking a breath in, this time as you exhale, slide the hands across the mat as you lift the hips up, just sinking that chest towards the floor. Now don't worry if it doesn't go down. Side of the face can be on the mat, forehead can be on the mat, or you can just hover halfway. Just opening up through the back and the chest. Don't force it. If you need to just stay on the forearms, that's fine. Two more breaths here now. And then from here, you're going to use the hands to walk them back towards the body to bring yourself back up to seated. Draw those knees back closer together. And once again, if you need to, you can come up onto the knees. Otherwise, inhale to bring the arms up overhead. Exhale to drop them to shoulder level. Twisting to the left, dropping that left hand towards the floor. Right one reaches up. So slight bend in that left elbow. 2 more breaths here then. And return both hands to the thighs for me. Inhale to bring them up overhead. Exhale to drop them to shoulder level. Twist to the right. Right hand comes down. Left arm stretches up. So slight bend in that right arm. Giving a slight stretch to the front of the thighs and a stretch to the front of the feet and ankles. Gaze is up to the hand. And then returning both hands back to the thighs for me. From here, come back into that tabletop position. Taking the knees about hip width apart, placing the fingers to point towards each other. So just to give a nice little stretch through the wrists and the forearms, I want you to just give a sway side to side. Fingers are open, belly stays pulled in, just taking it as far as you feel comfortable with. Bringing it back into that center position. You're going to turn the fingers around to point towards the body. Now, if they don't go all the way around, don't worry. If they do, thumbs stay on the outside edge. So from here, keeping those fingers spread, just take an inhale as you rock forward and an exhale as you rock back. So just gently rocking forwards and backwards. Too much time spent on laptops and phones these days make the forearms and wrists really stiff. So we're just going to give a little bit of a stretch here. And returning it back into center for me then. So turn the hands to point in the normal direction for me before sitting it back onto the heels, or if you need to, coming up onto the knees, your choice. Extend the arms out to the sides, palms face forwards. So you're going to open and close the hands as much as you can, as fast as you can. So opening and closing nice and quickly. You might find that eventually one of them slows down a little bit more than the others. Still strengthening up through the wrists and the forearms. 10 seconds more then. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release them down. Give the shoulders a little bit of a shake if you need to. Bring the shoulders up to the ears and circle them back. So inhale them up and circle back. One more then. Inhale and exhale. exhale, let's reverse it. Shoulders come back to the ears and circle forward. So inhale and exhale. Last one then. And exhale, give them a shake. So bring the hands back out in front and make a fist for me. Turn those knuckles to face the forearms. And then you're just going to take the arms side to side. So just giving those wrists a little bit of a twist. Doesn't have to be too far. One more then. And then just bringing them back down. So we're going to give a little bit of a stretch to the tricep. So taking the right arm up overhead, just bend it. Now you can either ease that arm back, that's your first position, or you can bring that right palm to face front on that left shoulder. Link the fingers and lift the chin. If you drop the chin, it takes the stretch off. So lift it up. So either link in, or you can just give a slight push to that arm. Your choice. Keep that chin off the chest and stay breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And release it off. Give that arm a shake. Let's go to the other side. So left arm goes up, bend the elbow and you can just ease it back, or that left hand comes to the front of that right shoulder, link the fingers and lift the chin. So just giving a stretch to that tricep. Try not to hold your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. 2 more breaths then. Before releasing, shaking both arms out and coming back into that tabletop position for me. Once you're in tabletop, tuck the toes and come back into that downward facing dog. So pressing down through those palms, fingers are open, come up onto the toes in down dog for me, before extending that right leg up. So pointing the toe towards the ceiling and just giving a little pulse here then for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Leave it here. Bend that right knee and just let that right foot drop down behind. So hips are stacked, opening up through that groin. And you're going to straighten up that right leg and drop the heel behind again. So straighten and drop. 2 more. Straighten and drop. Last one and drop. Straighten it back up, drop that foot back to the floor, come back down into tabletop and just sit it back into child's pose, just to give those wrists a little bit of a break. If you do find that's too much in downward facing dog, you can come back down to the knees. Inhale back into tabletop then. Tuck the toes and come into downward facing dog. Come up onto the toes in down dog and extend that left leg up then, pointing the toe towards the ceiling, belly's pulled in, fingers are open, and pulse for 10 here. 9, so small movement. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend that left knee then, so that left foot just drops behind slightly, and straighten it up. So drop the foot behind and straighten. That's 3. Straighten. 4. Straighten. And the last one. And straighten it up before dropping that left foot back to the floor. Drop into the knees and once more coming back into child's pose. So just take those knees to the outside edge and sink it down to the floor for me. Relaxing through the shoulders, weight stays pressed back. And when you're ready, come back into tabletop. Tuck the toes, come back into downward facing dog, and then jump or step it forward into forward fold for me. Once you're in forward fold, bend the knees and bring the bum down to the mat. Before extending the feet out in front of you, Sitting up nice and tall, feet stay flexed, pull up through the quads. Place the hands down by the sides. Fingertips can go on the floor, that's fine. Otherwise, press down through the palms. If you do have any problems getting those hands down, you can always use a block to rest them on, or a pillow, or anything you've got. So chest is lifted. Try not to push the chest and the bum out. Stay with a neutral spine for me. 2 more breaths then. And just release those hands. Bring the right sole of the foot into that left thigh, or you can take it to the calf, whichever's easier for you, whichever your body allows you to do. Keep that left foot flexed for me. Inhale to bring the arms up overhead. Exhale to drop them to shoulder level. Twist to the right hand plants onto the floor as the hips lift, stretching that left arm over and the left foot drops down. So really lifting up through that right side, squeeze through the glutes, giving yourself a nice stretch through that left side of the body. Breathing in and breathing out. Exhale to release those hips back to the mat. Left hand comes down underneath that left shoulder as the right hand comes across towards those left toes. Now if you can only get to the left side of the mat, that's fine, anywhere on that leg, otherwise to the left toes, and wherever you are, take a gaze over that left shoulder. Just feeling a twist through the right side of the body here. And return yourself back into centre. Sit up nice and tall once more then, hands come up overhead, drop to shoulder level, twist to the right, right hand comes down, hips lift, left toe drops as that left arm stretches. So really giving a nice stretch to the body. Breathing in and breathing out. And drop those hips back down one more time. Left hand under left shoulder, right hand comes across to anywhere on that left leg or the foot and gazes over that left shoulder. So just giving that little bit of a twist. And inhale to return yourself back to centre. Extend that right leg out for me then, and if you've slid down the mat like I have a little bit, reposition yourself before bringing that left sole of the foot into the thigh or the calf, wherever's more comfortable. Sit up nice and tall, chin off the chest. Inhale to bring the arms up overhead. Exhale to drop them to shoulder level. Twist to the left. Left hand comes down. Hips lift as the right toe drops towards the floor and the right arm stretches. So we're squeezing up through that left side of the glute. Left palm is open, pressing down through the fingertips. Really reaching over with that right hand for me. Exhale to return the hips to the floor. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. Left hand comes across towards that left leg or foot and gazes over that right shoulder for me. Just feeling a twist in that left side of the body. Just letting your body go to wherever it feels comfortable with. Don't force it. Returning back to centre for me for one more time. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, drop to shoulder level. Twist to the left, left hand comes down. Hips lift, right toes drop as right arm stretches. And hips drop, right hand under right shoulder. Left hand comes across to wherever you feel comfortable with and gaze over that right shoulder for me. So just feeling that stretch through the side of the body. Try not to hold your breath. And return yourself back into centre. Extend both feet out. Now I'm going to turn towards you, and luckily I've got the BiGDUG big mats, which are nice and comfortable for me. I want you to place the soles of the feet together. So taking them as far away from the body as you feel comfortable with. You're going to slip the hands underneath the back of those legs for me and bring the palms towards the front of the feet or anywhere close that you can get. From here, you're going to inhale to hinge forward from the hip, and then just sink the body down as far as you feel comfortable with. So don't worry how far you go. Gaze is to the mat. We're just giving a stretch here to that lower back. So instead of the heels being nice and close to our body, they're farther away this time. So just relaxing into it. Keeping the gaze down towards the floor. Back of the neck is nice and long. And feeling that stretch in the lower back. Stretching through the outside of the hip and possibly into the piriformis, in the glutes or underneath the glutes. Exhaling, just give it that little bit of an extra stretch if you can. Relax through the shoulders for me. And then when you're ready, just bring yourself back up to seated. Use the hands and stretch those feet out in front of you. And just place them at mat width on the mat for me. Placing the hands down behind you, just to give you that little bit of balance. Let's take both knees down to the left side. And then bring them over to the right side. Once more to the left. And this time the right hand comes around to walk your body around towards the back of the mat as far as you can go. And you can stay on the fingertips or the palms, or if you want to, bring the forearms and the forehead down. So you should find that the outside edge of that left leg and foot is on the floor, and the inside edge from the right knee downwards is on the floor. Just relax through those shoulders for me. Just feeling that twist through the spine. And then when you're ready, use the hands to bring you back up. And come back around to the front of the mat. Soles of the feet are flat on the floor again, at that mat width. Knees point up, drop them over to the right. Bring that left hand around and walk it around towards the back of the mat. And again, fingertips, palms, forearms, or that forehead comes down. Just relaxing through that body for me. Just focusing on the breath. And return yourself back around to the front of the mat, using those hands for me. Soles of the feet come back into contact with the mat. Just draw them in a little bit closer, about hip width apart. Extend the arms out in front of you, and you're going to slowly roll it down onto your back. So pulling the belly in as you go, all the way down to the floor. Just planting that spine down, and once you're there, extend the legs out in front of you. So you're nice and flat on your back. Feet are about hip width apart, just let them fall open. Palms face up to the ceiling, and the arms are about 6 inches away from the body. And when you feel nice and comfortable, just close the eyes for me. So just bringing your attention into your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. As you inhale, the belly rises, and as you exhale, the belly falls. Concentrating on the rise and fall of the belly. In the inhale, only in this moment. As you inhale and exhale. Belly rises and belly falls. Jaw softens. Staying with the eyes closed and the breath long and deep. Staying with the eyes closed, start to bring your awareness back to your feet by moving your toes. And bringing the awareness back up through the legs. Towards the belly as it rises and falls. Up through the chest. Across the shoulders, down through the arms, through the hands, and all the way to the fingertips, which you can move. Staying with the eyes closed, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And when you're ready, open up the eyes and slowly bring yourself up to seated. And once you're up, just swooping the feet around to the front where you can leave them out in front. You can just cross the ankles and just bringing the hands to the sides for me. Just reaching over with that left arm, just giving a slight bend to that right one to allow the left knee to stay down. Inhale to return that left hand to the floor, right one stretches over. Once more each side then. Just giving a nice stretch to the body. Last time. And bring both hands down behind you. Just press that chest forward for me, opening up. Chin is off the chest and gaze is forward. And just one last forward fold for me. Bringing the fingertips around in front where you can rest them on the floor or the palms or the forearms. Just giving a slight bend to that back. Just releasing any final bits of tension in the body. Just coming back onto the hands, bring yourself back to seated and just rest the hands just above the knees for me. I'm just going to take a couple of breaths in, so breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. One more time then, breathing in and breathing out. Bringing the palms together at the heart for me. Namaste. Thank you all for joining us here at the BiGDUG's studios. Remember, you can see us again on Thursday at 7:30 or next Tuesday. And don't forget to comment below why you are taking these yoga classes or your fitness goals, and you might be in for the chance of winning a yoga pack. Until Thursday,